What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Games Industry Executive Summary. This is Casey, and with me is the dashing Dave Fear.
What's up? Good to see you.
Welcome back, Dave. It's just us two today. I do have my own personal agenda. We might touch on some of the things that we have in the newsletter, but generally speaking, I've been on this tear or run, if that's some
Either
American
works.
phrasing.
Either works, yeah.
Either works. Thank you.
Well,
You are
depending
one
on
of
what
us.
you say next, I guess. But I have I can guess.
Yes. You're my official English tutor and
That's me.
corrector, autocorrect.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Dave, we're both old and maybe irrelevant in the bigger picture, um, but we don't have time. We still enjoy playing
Well,
video
back then.
games.
Yeah.
Yes. And this run that I've been on recently, thanks to being sick like 2 weeks ago. I mean, there are perks with getting sick, apparently, which is you get to stay home and play video games.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I played Silent Hill 2. Um, Amazing experience from several viewpoints. And then I immediately jumped into Resident Evil 2. And by the way, these are the remakes, all remakes. And now I'm in Resident Evil 3 remake. And then the next game that I'm going to play is probably Resident Evil 4 remake.
Mhm.
But my takeaway so far has been that I really appreciate these very contained experiences that I can have between, let's say, like I'm spending per game roughly ish, and I think Resident Evil 3 is the shortest one, but roughly, let's say, 10 hours per game. I'm getting a lot of value. These are $60 to $80 games. I'm having a lot of fun. Uh, Dave, I have another takeaway I would love to discuss with you about narrative specifically. We'll put that as a side note. Um, but I'm super happy about the experience I was able to get. I would love to, put more money into these types of experiences or find more of these experiences where I, spend maximum 5 to 10, 12 hours per game. I did my thing. I enjoyed it. I move on with my life. Maybe the market is not that way in its behavior. Maybe they cannot. I know that Silent Hill maybe didn't break even or just barely broke even, something like that. But I'm really grateful to both Konami and Capcom on these. But in any case, um, I would love to open up this discussion in relationship to the length of the games and then the age brackets of people. We spoke not so long ago as well about, in maybe 10, 15 years or 20 years from now, when I'm in my like 60-ish, ish, maybe hopefully I am, retired and just like, full-time gamer at that
That's what
point.
we hope. Yep.
Yes. Um, we have a lot of disposable income potentially.
We also hope.
And we love video games because we grew up with video games, and that's probably where we're gonna spend some of our, pension. But anyways, Dave, I'll let you take over. Your thoughts about game sizes, the audiences, moving forward, what might be happening.
You know,
And I'll
yeah, I think there's a couple interesting things going on here. And as a preview, I think there's a relationship between game size and session size, which allows different things to scratch that itch in different ways. We'll get to that in a sec. But this is, I think, basically what we've seen is this long backlash of the giant games led by the Assassin's Creeds and even the Elder Scrolls and all of these games. There's this time when scale was really, really what you advertised. And that was a little while ago. I feel like Valhalla was probably the high water mark of that thing, just this massive, unwieldy beast. And then, like the year before that, you had Ghost of Tsushima, which got you a lot of the things that you expect to have in a giant, sprawling game. But I think it was like 20 hours to get a platinum medal in that, and a lot of people really responded well to that. I think one of the issues, however, is that people like us, we like this because we grew up with these kind of particular narrative-y action games that, probably the peak of that is the Uncharted series. And they, or like Call of Duty campaigns, people used to actually play those. And Call of Duty campaign takes like 6 to 8 hours, depending. And that used to be like actually the main version of Call of Duty once upon a time. And so we like that kind of thing, definitely. But I think one of the issues is that when we talk about not wanting to play a giant game, we talk about not having the time to finish it. But one of the problems is that you can scratch that itch a lot with games that don't finish, right? And a lot of people are, and that is what most of the people are doing. If you have someone who is our age, who doesn't have a lot of time, they might just play Fortnite. And it's very easy to play Fortnite for half an hour and be like, okay, I played some games. And so I think that one of the issues is that there are two ways of fulfilling this need of the time crunched gamer. There is the manageable narrative traditional AAA game, which is incredibly expensive to make and has a slightly more niche audience. And there is the session based game, of which several exist that are doing their job just fine. And they also scale up and down. So you can do the half hour or you can do the all night session. And you also don't have to go through the sort of psychological problem of selecting a game when you have your game. And so I agree. I like these things. I like to be able to do that. But we're on the back foot with experiences like this. I think. I hope that we can perform strong and continue to make them, but we're on the back foot.
Um, why do you think they became expensive to make? Because there was a point in time. I mean, these were all considered triple A's, right? And during that point in time, we didn't have live service to the extent that we do today. We had less or fewer platforms to publish on, and these games were very successful and had a huge audience. So, what changed?
I mean, I think obviously the big one is expectations for visuals. Microsoft and Sony spent, 20 years or so selling consoles based off of graphical improvements, and software had to keep up with that. And that's tough to do. And that takes a lot of money to make things justify a PS5, a PS4, let alone a PS5. And so that inflated budgets, obviously. And then I think also there are people have also theorized that that's part of it, and there are also organizational problems that basically a lot of game studios struggled to make a machine the scale of which you need to make something like this. They struggled to make a well-running machine of that scale. And I think, generally speaking, we're at a point in the industry where we papered over a lot of our problems for a long time uh, by with money. That the industry was growing super quick. We were making a ton of money, and that was cool. And now we've reached a level of penetration in like the entertainment industry writ large, where it's basically impossible to grow at the rate that we used to, and we can't paper over our problems with money anymore.
Here's something I noticed playing. Okay, Silent Hill 2. I feel like after finishing that game, it felt a bit too long.
Mm-hmm.
There are some genius design elements in that game from the perspective of they gave you a couple tools. Maybe it's like 5 weapons ish maximum. It wasn't that much. And the amount of things you can do in the world, you can pick up things, you can maybe open doors. There, it's very limited. But I feel like the genius in the design of that game is that they limited themselves. It feels almost like somebody on a project level, like a producer, was like, okay, what are the features? What are the things? And they just put a list and said, okay, we're going to limit ourselves to doing this with
Mm-hmm.
these things. That's what I felt. But there was an entire section because the design was it okay, we have this big puzzle, you go through it, and then you move on to the next big puzzle. And each puzzle is maybe let's a couple hours. And maybe there's like a total of 5 or 6 of them. But I felt at one point, okay, I mean I love the gameplay, it's awesome. But maybe it was one of them. They could have cut 1 or 2 of them, and the experience would have probably been better. But I will go to Capcom and say they are really smart from the perspective of reusing content. And we saw this 20 years ago with Resident Evil 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're seeing it today as well with Resident Evil 2 Remake and Resident Evil 3 Remake. Same technology, same movement, same inventory system. same graphics, same like even some locations, same. Um, and also there are some limits that they put on themselves, and they've been very smart with how they use the content in
Yeah.
terms of so you have this big house or this police station, and you have these puzzles, and maybe for somebody who is an expert at that game, they can probably finish it in 1 2 hours. But for us who are going in like blind or are not as familiar with the puzzles, then you're like going back and forth, you're backtracking, you're not to even mention like potentially dying and restarting in some points. And you have your inventory box, and you have to manage your inventory all the time, and that just adds more gameplay time,
Right.
right? Um, so that I feel is, and then of course we just saw Uncharted, right?
Hmm.
And back in the day, they did Uncharted 1, 2, 3 almost back to back.
Yeah, the expectations were different, and you could spend more money on, spend more time and money on different things rather than having to have this level of graphical fidelity, which can be just so oppressive. There's a lot of money at that time. Uncharted 2 was kicking ass. There was, I think, they had basically a blank check to do Uncharted 3 and like do some crazy stuff like the upside down cruise ship or the airplane sequence or that kind of thing. And well, Uncharted 3 in particular, I don't think it really served them very well because that game just kind of felt like a series of set pieces, unlike Uncharted 2, which was a lot more successful and well paced. But yeah, I mean, reusing content, that's everyone should be doing more of that. I think the studio that really rewrote the modern expectation there was from reuses content all the time, and we love them for it because they still create experiences that feel like themselves, and they're able to make more of them. Like Night Rain, obviously, that's reusing a ton of content, and that's just sort of a bigger example, but all of their games do that. And everyone should be doing that. They're again for a long time. We just people could make a lot of decisions without necessarily thinking strategically and smartly about their research usage because there was so much money flowing in the industry and it was growing so quickly. And I hope that we see a lot of people paring that back in intelligent ways going forward.
Will the market for that type of experience that I just described increase or be more? I mean, if I'm going into some type of retirement in 20 years, does that say anything or change anything for people who are making games today?
Mm, nah,
No.
no, I don't think so. Things will keep changing, and I think the market for these kind of things will remain, but it's never going to be what it was necessarily. I mean, anything could happen, but I don't predict it will be
Yeah.
what it was. And you might be playing other things in 20 years. You don't know.
I mean, this one came out a couple of days ago, or that was yesterday actually. Wolverine.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you see that one?
I haven't watched it yet, but throw it on. Let's see.
We'll watch it together, I guess.
Yeah,
But for me, I feel like here, what's happening from the point of view of like maybe it's not reusing content necessarily, but you're reusing technology. You are reusing platform. You're reusing like design to a certain extent.
yeah.
There isn't much gameplay here. I mean, it's called gameplay trailer, but it feels like it's mostly cinematics. Um, but
I mean,
this is a
reusing tech, everyone should be doing. I mean, like, that's just what an engine is, right? Everyone's reusing Unreal.
yeah.
Man, is that violent?
That was pretty bloody.
Man.
Sorry for
I
those
mean,
who
so
are watching. You should
this is
probably
going to be a
close your
super
eyes.
interesting thing because I think Spider-Man enjoyed a really wide fan base, and you are not getting that wide fan base with that amount of gore going on.
That's a
Definitely
lot,
not.
a bit too much, maybe.
That's intense. I mean, again, Wolverine has claws on his hands. There's got to be some level of blood that you're not going to get with Spider-Man.
Yeah,
But I don't think you need to do that much.
this is a bit too much. Yes, I would agree with you. But maybe they're trying to oversell the reality of the character. Does the character do that in the comic books or anything like that? I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, he does. I mean, again, he's got his main thing is having big claws on his hands, and there's only
Yes,
so many things you can do with those claws.
but
Uh,
I don't remember seeing this in the '97 cartoons.
yeah, I mean, we've seen X-Men in various situations that
Yeah.
didn't have this much blood, and I think that would have been possible. Yeah, I think that's an error from my point of view. Like, there's a lot of people that played Spider-Man that are not going to be interested in that.
So my kids will absolutely not be playing this game.
Yeah, and a lot of other people are going to see a trailer and say the exact same thing.
Do you think they'll put like a mode in where like they like adjust the goriness?
I don't know. From what I'm seeing, it looks pretty foundational to the gameplay.
Yeah. In Spider-Man, there are just like these minor sequences of a bit of a horror or like something like that.
Yeah,
That wasn't
Spider-Man's a
word.
puncher. He's a puncher and he's a web guy.
Yes.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
relatively non-violent. I mean,
Huh.
relatively.
But an interesting choice, right? Like that they
Yeah,
chose to go this route.
yeah. I mean, Wolverine is a super popular character that Sony still owns. So I think that
You gotta
it's
use it.
probably one of their best choices. I don't, of the X-Men, he's definitely the most popular X-Men.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I think that it was probably their best choice.
But okay, just to go back then on the track of old people in games.
What we got? What's happening?
I'm just showing you. This is Spider-Man
Yeah, yeah,
3, I believe. Here, by the way, if you remember, they were speaking about. So I think they sold like 20 million copies of Spider-Man 2 or something like that. But the budget for that game just exploded.
yeah,
If I remember, like from 1 to 2. Even though they're like, this is also still what's confusing me.
yeah. And they reused
Why
a lot
is
of
that?
stuff. They reused the basic movement systems and
Yeah.
yeah, all that.
So
But
why is that? Because bigger game doesn't mean better game.
yeah,
And I felt like there was so many things that were just unnecessary.
yeah,
Well,
and
what? Yeah, go ahead.
I think they got again they got the seal of approval and the nudge from Sony to go hard, and they went hard. You know,
But it feels like how is that sustainable though? Like if you're driving I do understand that creative needs to push the boundaries and push but I
yeah,
just feel like pushing it on the side of if it's graphics or if it's increasing the budget doesn't necessarily push the gameplay to be more
yeah,
enjoyable.
no, and as we've talked about many times, ours is the last generation to particularly care about this kind of visuals.
Yeah, I mean,
We,
this is. I wouldn't say this is like the best visuals. It's pretty good, right? But I'm happy here. Like, it doesn't have to be better than this, in my
I
opinion.
mean, and this is ludicrously expensive to make. So
Yeah, you're actually correct there.
yeah,
I mean, we've spoken about Last of Us 2 so many times as well. I mean, obviously, amazing game, but it didn't provide a substantially better experience, overall experience, than Uncharted 2 that was, done
yeah. I
10,
mean,
15 years ago.
I still prefer the Uncharted series. I like the
Yeah,
Uncharted series because it was fun, and Last of Us was
lighthearted is what you're
not
saying, I guess.
necessarily fun. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, are there any other games that you think people should be paying attention to that fall into this category of the 6 to 15 hours of really awesome gameplay?
Hmm.
And recommendation for me, maybe.
What is happening with it right now? I do think there's indie games. There's some like I played Blasphemous 2. I bet that took about 20 hours, something like that. That was a great game. Recently, we had Mafia: The Old Country.
Oh yes.
That was a straight up old style narrative cover based shooter thing, which was really cool. I liked that they made that, but was definitely an old style game. Uh,
Speaking of narrative, Dave. By the way, you finished Resident Evil 2, right?
yeah,
Were you ever like? I feel like there was more narrative in the older games. I'm not saying I'm complaining, because I feel like it was okay, but I feel like there was heavier narrative and conversation in the older games. Maybe I'm just like my memory's foggy.
by older games, what do you mean? Like the original Resident Evil 2?
Exactly, exactly.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think it was more in the remake. I mean, obviously, this is like, as my dad would say, a matter of ascertainable fact. So there is an answer here, but from my memory, there was more in the remake.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm trying to get to is like I felt like the amount of cutscenes, the amount of dialogue, etc. It was like it didn't feel overwhelming. Like in the Spider-Man games, as an example, or in The Last of Us, there's just too much
Yeah.
of that. But I think they did strike a really good balance in both Silent Hill 2, the remake, and Resident Evils 1, 2, and or rather 2 and 3 remakes. Have yet to get to 4. Have you? Did you get there or no?
Not for a remake, no. I've heard it's great.
Okay. Cool, Dave. How about we jump into some of the things in the
Let's
newsletter?
some things. Let's check
We
out the newsletter. Let's do it.
Yes, I mean we do have 15 minutes to go. I was so right now as we speak. Well, it was actually yesterday and 2 days ago. Epic had their Unreal Fest in Stockholm. I missed that opportunity to get my ticket, but I was at another event where I was able to meet a couple of Epic employees. Really cool people. I love that they had so many people from Epic coming and just like, I guess promoting their platform more or less.
Yeah.
And I know it's called Unreal Fest, but what's interesting is most of the conversations I had at that event was about UEFM, so Unreal for Fortnite,
Right, which
and
is Unreal, kind of.
ish,
Yeah.
ish. Um, but I was because I was like, hey, I did some research on you guys like a year ago, and I was like, explain what happened in the past 6 months in under a minute. And they kind of blew my mind on so many things. And just to give you like a high level of it, and obviously I'll show you what Manu chose to have as the number one item. Um, Allowing developers. So up to this point, they are they're giving you some profit from like the engagement that you get on your experience.
Yeah.
But now they're going to allow you to like Roblox.
Yeah, they're
Be
gonna
able to
Roblox it up. Yeah.
They are gonna Roblox it up. And here's what's interesting from some of the conversations I had with BrainRot. Okay, it took over the platform and it's being played more than the original battle royale game.
That's happening. Oh wow, because everyone's been kind of waiting for something to finally unseat it.
It is
Yeah.
right now. It's happening, and it feels like from the conversations I had, it feels like they might be internal, like bureaucracy, or if you want to call it that, or
Yeah.
politics, because I assume the main kind of like storyline and narrative and all that stuff, if it has like I don't know a yearly budget of 30, 40, 50 million, whatever it is, and there are less people playing that versus everything else, what does that tell you, and what kind of behavior is it going to push the company? So I'd love to hear from you, your high level thoughts about this. I'll bring up the numbers as well.
I mean, yeah, it's gonna push events like Unreal Fest and sort of that general ethos of trying to just get more people, more developers doing their stuff on there. I don't think Epic wants to be full on Roblox, but I also don't think that they would care if they were. Oh, we'll see. I'm really curious to see because Roblox monetization is obviously incredibly effective, making a lot of money, but it also sucks in a lot of ways. My daughter plays all these games, and she's like, I want to. How do I succeed in this? And I'm like, well, you kind of got to spend money. And there's just okay. So this is wow.
What you're looking at.
So I mean, yeah, there is a bit of a
as we're speaking right now. Yes, as we're speaking right now.
4.3 in Save the World. Interesting. So that's 45 to true core battle royale. However, zero build is also battle royale.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now we're up to 60, and then ranked 18. What is reload? What is reload?
I have no idea. Gotta look at it. 40-player fast-paced battle royale.
Yeah. Okay. So it is. Go back, and that's epic. Yeah. So that is battle royale. So 60, 80, 98, 112, 120.
A list. Sorry, Dave.
Oh, come on. I'm trying to do math here.
Just making a quick list here because it's easier to view.
Yeah. So yes, the
The number one
The
item or the
number
number
one
one.
item
Yeah.
is, however, like Battle Royale is still the dominant thing.
The total package of Battle Royale. Yes, that is
Yeah,
correct. Yeah.
Epic developed Battle Royale, and so the next, so we get this 1v1 is the next non-Epic developed thing.
So just to give then more context into what's happening on the platform, yes, apart from them allowing you to create your rather sell things inside of your experience, so you'll be able to have items in your experience that are both consumables and there was another word they used that was really cool, like foreverables or something like that, where like
Forever.
like as in let's say you buy a cosmetic item in an
Yeah,
experience, you get
yeah,
to keep that item, but it's only contained to that experience.
yeah.
So let's
And
say
Roblox has a lot of foreverables of that kind too. Like if I'm playing a tycoon, I can buy an instant, I can buy double income or stuff.
exactly,
You know.
exactly. But tied to that, that means essentially that you can upload custom assets now.
Yeah, it does. And there's a kettle of fish with that.
Absolutely. But I think, generally speaking, this is a huge shift and change to the platform. So I'm not sure if you have any further comments about like what you're seeing.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's going to be tough. The thing is, Roblox is Roblox, and I don't see the kids playing Roblox being like, "Let's do it in Fortnite instead." However, people are looking for audiences wherever you can find them, and clearly, someone has made it work in Fortnite. Made it work in Fortnite, like off of a Roblox property. But more people are definitely going to be trying.
The way I just saw this thing, share of in-game sales distributed to creators, and by 2026, 74% of in-game sales.
Yeah, I mean that's great. Epic has always been trying to give a higher percentage to people with the game store. They were doing that too, and even with the sort of creator programs, they were trying to be generous. However, I think the game store it offers a cautionary tale, right? 25% of 100 or 75% of 100 is still less than 25% of 1,000, and that's basically what happened with the game store. Was sure everyone was excited about that better cut, but the audience was on Steam.
Yeah. Cool. Dave, there was something you highlighted before our meeting here that you want to talk about on the list.
There was.
Yeah, there was like a remake or a other game.
I don't remember.
That was.
Nope.
Um, I cannot remember. Oh, we spoke about two games. So Palworld is doing Pal Farm. It's a spin-off,
That's cool.
and it's like
I
almost like
love those
a.
crazy guys. Yeah, do whatever you want, Palworld. Go for it.
I don't know what happened with the lawsuit got canceled, right, or something like
I think
that,
so.
or
Yeah.
but this is like an interesting kind of like their take on Stardew Valley
Yeah.
almost. I'm gonna show the trailer here at the same
Yeah.
time.
I mean, that's very Stardew Valley, or general cozy game style dialogue
Well,
presentation.
what I felt with that, by the way, specifically, it felt like almost not Horizon. Good lord, what's that Nintendo game called? The one on the island,
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing ish.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'd like to. This is a cool idea. I would be very curious. It looks beautiful for one thing. I love that
It
kind
is
of out
wow.
of focus of the edges thing, like in
Yeah.
the Zelda game. What was that? The remake on Switch.
Can you remind me?
Link's
Is this a
Awakening.
Japanese company behind
Yes,
it? Yeah.
yes,
Crazy. That's amazing.
yeah. So it looks beautiful, and I would be interested to see to what degree it is like a farming game and an automation game. I really like automation games, and there's a lot of overlap with farming games, and the PALs offer an obvious way to turn it into an automation game as well.
Wow. Now that I'm seeing the trees being cut, that is so Stardew Valley ish.
And it's got Russian roulette in it,
Good
so
lord, there are weapons in it. I thought it
There
was
you
going to be
go.
kid friendly. That was scary.
Yeah, that was sort of a different tone than the rest of this thing. This looks cool
The
though.
level of
I
quality of this thing
hope it
is
comes in on
wow.
Switch. I play it on Switch.
This is going to explode, I feel like.
Yeah.
And if they can solve the online component properly, because Stardew Valley, me and the kids started playing it, and it just felt a bit old in its approach to online.
Yeah, I mean, online with cozy games is tough. An Animal Crossing-like approach is definitely old, but it does work. Maybe they can just do that.
Sorry, not Animal Crossing. I meant Stardew Valley.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, but
Yeah.
like, I was just thinking of other ways that people
Okay,
have
got it.
approached online. I mean, obviously, with Animal Crossing, you don't need to do all the weird friend code stuff, but
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
these are single-player driven games.
That is amazing. And it's so interesting that they are taking the advantage of making sure that their IP is top of mind.
Yeah.
That is just crazy. And then the final thing then for today, then Dave, and we're running up there, which was Deep Rock Galactic Survivors.
Yeah, I got to play that. Manu was talking about that last week. Seems super cool. Really like Deep Rock Galactic as like a property. I like the main game, and I like these survival games. So, these Survivor. What do you call these games?
Survivor, yes.
Vampire Survivors like games. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna give this a shot. I'll add it to cart. Add to cart right now. There's a problem updating my cart. Let's do it again.
I'm gonna
No
just.
problem updating my cart.
Oh, this is a review. Oh, you're actually buying it right now?
Yeah.
Okay, let me just get a
Well,
trailer out here.
I was trying to do it.
The word survivor I associate a lot to vampire survivors these days, but do you know anything about the game, by the way, or
About Vampire Survivors?
no, about Deep Rock Galactic Survivor?
Yeah, it is a Vampire Survivors style game.
It is. That is
Yeah,
really cool.
just
Is it,
with better production values. And
is it co-op?
I don't think so, but I don't know.
You know that Vampire Survivors is doing online soon.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, they would need to solve because when you get advanced in one of those games, the screen becomes this kind of ludicrous mess of flying projectiles. So, which is part of the fun, but they
Yeah.
would need to edit that a little bit. They can't have twice the mess, I don't think.
So we're watching the trailer for Deep Rock Galactic. I'm not seeing other characters on screen, so I'm not sure
No.
if it's co-op or not. But I think it feels like it would be a missed opportunity if it wasn't co-op, considering their heritage.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but it looks
Swedish.
pretty
Are they
cool.
Swedish?
They are Danish.
Danish.
Yes, which is almost Swedish. But don't tell that to the Danish.
I'm not wading into that one.
No, you stay away from that one. Yeah, but it looks good. It looks really good. Absolutely going to be on. And I wasn't surprised. Now that I'm seeing the footage, I'm less surprised that you're actually just diving in and buying.
Yeah.
Looks.
Yeah, I mean, like the ultra lo-fi stuff in Vampire Survivors was obviously part of the appeal, but you can't really keep doing that.
I love what they're doing, by the way. Like they are doing their own take. Yes, they are. The general formula is the same, but they have these you're not just mining, but you're also breaking walls, and they're using the. I assume they have a procedural generation system attached to this. In some shape.
I would assume as well, but I don't know. Maybe they might also have slightly more authored levels. I don't know.
Yep. It looks great. Dave, this has been an awesome.
This has been some good
episode.
podcasting.
Yeah, I mean, we had some really good conversations. So I really appreciate your time today. And I hope that the people who are watching also enjoyed the conversation. Of course, if you want to get our newsletter every Friday, 9 a.m., wherever you are in the world, and save a lot of time and just get into the meat of what is happening in the industry, then head over to guysweekly.substack.com. That's GIES weekly.substack.com. Yes, subscribe. Next week, Dave, you are doing the monthly.
Yes, that's right. And I think Manu will be contributing to that as well.
Looking forward to that. That's going to be awesome. Is there any, do you want to say what it's going to be about? Or
I don't know yet, actually.
I don't know yet. Okay.
So we'll see.
We'll see.
I might just complain about Silksong. Maybe I'll just complain because that was definitely one of the big things, and I've been thinking a lot about it. So
that's a game I was actually about to ask you today, but I just forgot.
Well, let's do that for the monthly. Why not?
we will wait for your full review, soul
Yeah.
song review, old
So
man review.
yeah, exactly.
Looking forward to it. Okay, and
All
then
right.
thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
It's been good. Like and
Peace.
subscribe.